Welcome to the Weird Gun Game Show. I'm your host, BubbaTV24, and today I'm bringing my top 10 favorite guns submitted by the community for last week. Let's go over the rules for submitting your builds. If you don't know how to submit your build, just leave it in the comments down below on this video. Also, remember, rule number 3 is the most important rule. Rule number 1, submissions will be open for 24 hours after this video goes live, so make sure you get your builds in. After 24 hours, submissions will close. Number 2, all submissions will be deleted off of my list after I finish choosing my top 10 and make the video. So if you didn't get picked, either resubmit your build or make a new one. 3, make your builds weird. That's the name of the game. Builds that are weird and funny or fun are more likely to get picked. A fun build doesn't always mean it's the meta build. Number 4, only submit one build. If you submit more than one, I am going to pick one of them at random, and it may not be the one that you really want shown. As always, BubbaTV24 is in the field testing your weapons, and we'll give more information on them as we go. Let's start with number 10. Number 10 from @IGNSavingWolf6724 is going to save all of those annoying Nambu PPSH builds with a fresh take on the Nambu. The build is core, type A2 Nambu, barrel, mustard, mag, PP19 Bison, stock, APS, grip, circuit judge. Show us something fresh, Bubba. Alright, now I know that I talk a lot about Nambu builds and how much I dislike the Nambu, but it's mostly because I keep seeing the same exact builds over and over again, and this Nambu build is different. Stats here on the right hand side for all you guys who like that, and let's get into it. So this Nambu build is a little bit different in that there are no PPSH parts, no Chris Vector parts, none of that sort of thing, just Nambu and other things. So there are a lot of pros and cons for this build, so let's get into it. The pros are that this is finally a new Nambu build, something different, because despite what some people may think, I don't hate the Nambu core, but I am sort of, as I've said before a million times, tired of seeing the same exact Nambu build where basically people throw on Chris Vector parts as well as PPSH parts and then call it a day. But because this one has a mustard barrel, it has more ammo, it is a little bit slower in some regards in comparison to what's commonly the more meta build, but this is still very good as well. It has decent damage within its range. So if we look at the damage here, 25 damage between 128 and then it drops off to 10 at 442. It has okay fire rate at 750 and a little bit of a movement buff, and the reload is at 4 seconds, which is just okay. It's not the best reload that we've ever seen, and it's kind of getting a little bit close to my sort of this is when things start becoming bad sort of thing, which for me is around 5 seconds. So if anything has a reload that is like longer than 5 seconds, I typically do not think it's a good reload. I think it is a bit slow. The cons, there is a slight health nerf to this one. We lose about 8 health, so that is a little bit of a nerf there to the health. And we also have some pretty rough damage fall off. As you can see, there's not much difference between these two numbers for a 15 damage fall off, so that's pretty rough as well. But overall, it's a pretty darn decent build, especially if you're on a map that's a little bit smaller than this one, because this map is pretty big. But if you are in a little bit of a smaller map, this thing is absolutely still going to shred, because let's be real, it's the Nambu. Nambu's peak, and it's pretty fun. So back to you guys in the studio. Number 9. Number 9 from @MrPorkChopZ24 will make the US want to know his location for all that sweet, sweet oil. This secondary build is barrel, oil, sight, valve, mag, QBZ95, core, B17, grip, Colibri. Imminent domain is about to knock on your door, Bubba. This next one here is a secondary that is literally meant to basically be an oil barrel that has you know, just the aesthetic of all of basically oil. That's the whole thing. So we have this valve here to really complement the barrel to kind of jump into that as well. Here are the stats over here on the right. So as you were informed, this has the B17 core, the Colibri grip, stuff like that. It is all hidden inside of the barrel because, let's be real, this thing is massive. So those are your things that you need to know about this build. Now, I will say this about the B17. It is not really my favorite pistol, but I understand why you would use it. So let's talk about pros and cons. It is the B17, so this thing shoots quick. As you can see, it just empties its mag very fast. The last thing I have here for the pros, oil. It is just oil. We're going to be running the country on this one, boys. We're going to be great. We're going to be knocking down them gas prices because we are just giving oil out to everyone or something. But let's talk about the cons because there are some not so great things about this build. First off, I don't really care for this sight all that much. It is a little bit too, oh God. Poopy fart face killed me. Awesome. It's a little too, well, hard to see through. I'm gonna be honest. It's a little rough. And I also don't really care for the little thing at the top to represent the reticle. I don't like it being at the top. I don't know. It's just a personal preference. If you like it, that's fine. That's up to you. The other con, the next con, really is the damage fall off. This thing takes a poo-poo in terms of the damage because it's already not great to begin with because of just how fast it is. Man, I missed the Type 14 when it was a full auto. Man, those was fun times, you know? Damage starts at 10, but then immediately drops off down to 5. Well, not immediately, but this is not great, by the way. Drops down to less than 6, so it could even get worse than that as you go through if you get even farther away. There's also a very slight movement speed nerf here at 4%, and yeah, the fall off, of course. Now the fire rate is 1100, so that's awesome, but let's be real, this thing is more for the fun, more for the goofy oil sort of vibe to it than it is for the, hey, you are going to go through and get a ton of kills. You're not going to be doing that a lot with this. It is what it is. It's for the vibe. It's for the fun. It's for the look of the gun and that sort of thing. So with that being said, let's go back to the studio. Number 8. Number 8 is a double blast of fun from @mapping69. I had a few double barrel builds, but this one was the one that I had the most fun with. So if you submitted a build similar to this, you also made a good build, but this one edged it out ever so slightly, at least for me. The build is barrel, double barrel, core, M1897 trench shotgun, mag, M870 breacher, grip, blunderbuss, stock, circuit judge, sight, any. Make 'em see double, Bubba. Like I said before, I had a lot of submissions that were basically something very similar to this build, where it was the trench shotgun core with the double barrel sort of barrel here, and then there was just like a mishmash of other things. This one is a 500 damage shotgun. It has a little bit better range than the 600 damage shotgun, so just pick your poison. They're both pretty good. Here are the stats here on the side. Let's get into it. So like I said, there were a few shotguns that were similar to this one, but this one had more pellets than the other ones, I think. And I don't know, I just enjoyed it a lot more, and it kind of, I think some of it also was the range. And so I ended up like choosing this one just because it really just like very slightly edged out the rest of them. So they were all very good builds. Everybody had something relatively similar, so you're going to be getting relatively similar results. When I say that it edged out the other ones, I'm not going off of stats. I'm going off of like vibe and how well I enjoyed using it. Some of them just work better for me than others, and that's just how it is sometimes, and this one just was what it was. Okay, so let's talk about pros and cons. So the pros here is that, of course, 500 damage is an incredibly large amount of damage if I can actually hit what I'm shooting at. So tons of damage. tried to flick on that guy and I missed. It's also got a fairly decently fast reload. If we empty out here a little bit, we've got a little bit of a faster reload, and it is faster than the 600 damage shotgun, which requires, well, it's a little, that one's a little bit slower when it comes to reloading. It also has a very slight, did somebody just jump on me and disappear? It also has a very slight movement buff, which I'm all for. I like a good movement buff, especially on a gun like this where you're gonna be doing some crazy movement to get the kills because you kind of have to. There we go. Holding the point down here. It's a little bit of a movement buff. Nothing super, super crazy though. Very slight. The cons. Well, the cons are, as with all shotguns, range. And with this one, if you are outside of the range, you literally do 0 damage. So that is a little bit of an issue, but hey, we're going to be moving around and doing stuff so quickly that we probably won't have to worry about it. Jeez, okay, dude. That's a thing. Also, can I do a quick rant here? We're going to sidebar for a second because I just wanted to do this. I think it needs to be addressed, and I think it needs to be brought up because I finally have experienced it myself. So I've complained before about the auto aim and auto shoot in this game. I've actually only complained about auto shoot because I didn't know about auto aim, which is a thing in this game. So I actually put Roblox on my phone. And I signed into it on a secondary account, came into Weird Gun Game with a starter account where they basically gave me, you know, the M16 and like the 3 guns, the AK and the M16. And I went into a match, and on my mobile, and sure it was against bots, I dropped 60 kills. Now, that was on mobile with me sitting in a corner, not even holding the phone. So if you have auto aim on or auto shoot, there is actually an auto aim mechanic in this game on mobile where if you are kind of standing still, I don't even know if it works if you're moving or not, but if you're standing still, the game will automatically aim for you at an enemy, and then it will look at them and shoot them without you even needing to play the game. You can sit in a corner and do that, and I did. So if you have a gun that has really good hip fire, you can lay down so much hate. And I did. I killed 60 people on my very first game, and I had my phone sitting on my desk without touching it. It played itself. There is no way that that is a good thing. I understand that mobile players have a little bit of a harder time because it's mobile and everything, right? And I have a more raw input like with mouse and keyboard, which is fine. I don't have to even hold the device to play the game on mobile. How is that not a problem? So that to me is, I'm just gonna say this, and I hate to be a super negative Nancy about it. That to me is something that will absolutely kill a game off if you're not careful, and it may need to be reined in a little bit. That being said, let's go back to the studio. I know I needed to get that off my chest because it honestly, when I saw that the game actually not only shot for you, which I knew it did, but it also aimed for me, made me sick to my daggone stomach, bro. So anyway, let's head back to the studio. Number 7. Number 7 is going to be a little bit different because I do want to give an honorable mention to someone as well. The build that I'm featuring is from @RyanBlack1277, and the honorable mention goes to @MiniGoatCC. Both of these builds were based on having a gun that quacks a lot, and while I think that both builds were good, I didn't want to feature 2 builds that were quack based. This one ever so slightly edged out the other with a build that is made up of the barrel, quack, core, Burton, grip, M16, stock, speed coil, mag, horizontal, sight, any. Make a move south for the winter, bubba. All right, our number 7 here, a Burton build, and I said this in the little intro there. I got 2 submissions specifically with quacks in mind, and here are the stats here. And I chose this one because this one to me edged out the other one just a little bit. Neither of the guns I would say were like crazy amazing weapons, but this one to me felt a little more usable than the other gun. That's why I chose it. But the other gun, you know, is usable. It was meant to be a loud quackster, very fun. That's why I gave a shout out to both creators because I think that they both deserve it, and they both went for quack builds. I also didn't want to submit and use 2 quack builds in the same video, and this one also used the Burton core, which is a core that I haven't gotten to use yet, so that's why I also chose it, because I wanted to play with the Burton core a little bit because it's relatively new and I haven't done anything with it. So that's why we chose it. Pros and cons here. The pros are that this is a faster moving build as an SMG with a speed coil on it, and so you get a bit more mobility with it, which is always nice. Also, my aim is just absolutely atrocious. Okay, there's also a very fast reload on this gun. So as you can see, boom, done, reload, probably what, 2 seconds if that? Probably less than 2 seconds, really. That's a thing. I'd have to look at the actual stats when we get in there. If I die, I'll go and look at the stats. The other ones are that it has pretty okay damage, even at range. So the drop off here, only 4. We're only losing 4 damage as opposed to the 15 that we saw in the other ones. Reloads 1.6, super fast. So, you know, the actual range is pretty decent here at 385, so that's okay. For an SMG, I should say. A really good fire rate, that kind of thing. Now, the cons for this one are that this thing has a 17% nerf to your health. So you lose 17 health, and that is going to be a huge issue if you're trying to play speedy up close, especially when the game auto shoots and auto aims for you. That's lovely, right? So that's a thing. The other con, low mag size, only 20 rounds. For a gun that shoots as fast as it does, having 20 rounds, pretty rough. Now, the reload speed makes up for it, sure, but only really a little bit. Another little side rant. Let's side rant here about Weird Gun Game. Players disappearing and despawning. I don't understand why the game does this, where sometimes you'll go behind an object, or somebody will go behind an object, and their whole entire character, I just got shot from across the map, their whole entire character will disappear. It doesn't make sense. It's kind of sucky when it happens. It's hard to aim and do things when that's going on. It's still a pretty decent build. It's been fun to use, and yeah, I'm enjoying it as well, and you get the quacks, because why not? Back to you all in the studio. Number 6. Number 6 from @Ethereal Falcon issued a challenge to me to make this gun look as good as possible. Well, I took that challenge on. The build is barrel, marrow maker, core, hex spitter, grip, pistol, mag, APS, stock, the chief, sight, P90. Take this pretty thing out on the town, Bubba. Number 6 here from Ethereal Falcon. Look, they said, hey, I've got this build that I like, but it looks awful. Can you make it look cool? And here's what we did. So I chose it because we've got the Marrow Maker here, and there are at least 2 Marrow Maker builds here that are being used this week. But this one, I think I figured out something that looks okay. Now, it didn't save all of my things. I don't know why it does that. I wanted to go with the Halloween theme because of the Marrow Maker, and I decided orange and black, obviously. This vibrant green here, the screaming green for the like energy here, and then just to accent it, I put a couple green dots right here on the body. So this is a hex spitter core, but yeah, I think this looks really cool. It might be a little bit kind of janky looking overall because the parts are a little bit of a mishmash, but I tried to do what I could do and make it a little cohesive there. So here are the stats over here on the right, and let's get going. Now, the question that I have for Falcon is this a reference to the game Metal Hellsinger? If you guys don't know what Metal Hellsinger is, it is a game on Steam, I think. I actually have it, haven't played it before, but it is a first-person shooter game where you go through and shoot and kill enemies to the beat of metal music. So it's a rhythm game as well as an FPS game. So is this a reference to that because they named the gun Hellsinger? Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that would be pretty cool if it was. I was thinking Van Helsing, but it's not Van Helsing because it's not Van Hellsinger. Anyway, let's talk about pros and cons. So pros, if it is a Metal Hellsing reference or Hellsinger reference, then that's pretty cool because I have heard some of the music from Hellsing. Hell Singer. I'm gonna get those two mixed up now that I said it. But I have heard the music from the game, and some of it's really good, and it makes me actually want to go and play it. Faster reload if we do this here, boom. It's pretty quick. Let's see the actual stat there. It is, come on, 3 seconds, nope, sorry, 2.6 second reload. We have a very slight minor movement buff there, which is kind of cool. The cons, a little bit of a smaller mag at 26, which means that it's gonna get used up pretty quick because the rate of fire for what it is, you know, pretty decently good, and also like, it's the Hex Spitter core, so it shoots pretty quick, so this mag goes by really quick. And the other con is that this thing's ugly as sin. I'm gonna be honest, like, I tried to do a lot of magic to make this thing look relatively like not awkward and weird, and I don't know if I even completely succeeded in this. It's okay, it's very otherworldly looking, which I do like. And I do like, whoa, hello. I do like the glowing core there on the barrel. I think that's really cool from the gun. I also like the little accent, the green accents on the side there that I put there. They really kind of make the barrel a little more cohesive, because, you know, tricolor theory and all that fun stuff. Anyway, if you know about that stuff, then you know. But yeah, I tried to do something there with it to make it work. And I actually do like this look. I think it looks really nice, actually. I think it's pretty cool looking. So pretty fun gun. I like it. Back to you all in the studio. Number 5. Number 5 from @Dogotos finally uses the Chief core, a core that I have long wanted to see more of. The build is Barrel, Marrow Maker, Core, the Chief, Grip, AR-8X, Mag, NP5, Sight, Red Dot, doesn't really matter anyway, Stock, STG-44. Let's tear up the Covenant, Bubba. Number 5 here is a Master Chief, I should say Chief core. We'll keep Master Chief's name out of this one, but Chief core here, this one, I mean, it's Halo. I chose it. People don't use the Chief core. I just don't know if there's been really a good build for it overall until, I guess, kind of now. This is okay, but I chose it because it's the Chief core. It's also got the Marrow Maker. I've kind of built it out the way that they have said to do it as best as I could, but I decided to make it black and gold because why not? I love the color combos anyway. And the sight doesn't matter because the spread is exactly the same no matter what. That's the whole point of it. So here are the stats. Let's get into it. This gun is specifically meant for hip fire. So you're going to run into your enemies, hip fire them, and then and just do what you got to do to kill them. So we're going to grab this. Let's go ahead and get in there and start killing some fools and talk about the pros and the cons. So the pros, finally, this is a Chief build. I am so happy someone finally took the Chief and gave us a build for it. Now, whether I can use it effectively or not, it's a different story. Is this gun fit for the Master Chief? Maybe. It's really fast. It's got a very fast rate of fire. The cool thing about it too is that it is a constant movement build, so you don't even need to stop moving to use it because, well, there's no ADS. You know, you're not hiding around corners, nothing like that. The whole point is to be running like crazy, getting in people's faces, and just left clicking. Now, you'll probably notice that there are, you know, some other things to it. So we do have a little bit of a movement speed buff. If we take a look at it, it is 7%, so pretty decent. We also have a 17% health buff, and the reload speed is 2.1 seconds. So very, very quick, and a lot of buffs to help us out. Now we can just sit here and hold down, but you know, at range, we're probably not going to hit a whole lot because of the spread. Just in general, the spread's a thing. Now the cons. Damage. It's not incredibly high damaging. If we take a look at the stats here on the right again, it says 9x2, so that's 18, and then down to 16. It definitely doesn't feel that quick, so maybe there's some sort of just like weird incompatibility thing. It feels like maybe I'm not hitting my second pellets or something like that. I don't really know. Something about it feels a little bit weird. I'll tell you where the other problem is. The big one, you'll notice it when I do it, the recoil. That is insane recoil. Super, super heavy recoil. So even if you do get close enough to people, oh gosh, not on any of these maps, but even if you do get close enough to people to actually hit them, you gotta really find a way to sort of use that recoil to your advantage. You're gonna be having to go into fights like this and then looking up and shooting from the ground if you want to hit anything. So if I want to shoot this guy, I'd have to do that. It's crazy how bad this recoil is. You're going to be fighting it the entire time, which is what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to recoil. Uh-oh, get away. I'm trying to manage my recoil, but as you can see with the damage, I'm having a hard time hitting anything, and I'm also not really doing much to kill them either. So that's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, recoil is the worst part about this gun. You can make damage work on some of these guns sometimes, but if you can't even hit them because the gun's flying all over the place, then that's a problem. And I really want this core to be awesome, and it's hard to find good builds with it. So that's why I included it. So that's it. Back to you all in the studio. Number 4. At number 4, At Era, the Emo Cat brings a weapon that represents their Dungeons & Dragons character. The build is Barrel, Dominus, Core, P90, Grip, Hell Trooper 23, Mag, PP19 Bison, Sight, P90, Stock, AK-12. Get out there and cast some magic missiles, Bubba. This next one from At Era, the Emo Cat, is one that I really like because it's the P90 core, and we don't see a lot of that either. So I do enjoy a good P90 core, P90 build, and this one's pretty interesting. Now, I am not going to pretend that I got the build correct. They did give some instructions as to where things needed to be. I don't know if I got it right or not. This is about as close as I can really get for it. Here are the stats over here, and let's get into it. I also went with black. I don't remember if they gave us colors or not, or if I chose these colors. Maybe I chose them. I can't remember actually. Let's talk about pros and cons. Pros. I love the sound of this thing. I think the sound of this gun is crazy. I don't know what this sounds like, honestly, but it's so weird and I love it. So that's one of the big pros for me is if it sounds cool, I'm here for it. I mean, it's gonna get something out of it. And I think that this like weird, whatever noise that is, sounds really cool. Anyway, it's the P90. Like I said, don't see a lot of P90 builds, so why not showcase one? Pretty cool. And it has a very fast fire rate. So we are just laying down ammo like crazy, and I love that. Always love a good fire rate. And especially if it sounds cool. That guy is alive. How are you alive? Did you just fall off to your death? You did. Bye-bye. It has a pretty decent reload. Not the best reload, but it's, within, I think, the 5 seconds. So it works. And there we go. So we're probably around 4-ish, I think. Maybe just a little over 4, or right around 4. I can see you, bro. There we go. Has a movement speed buff. And it also has very controllable recoil. If we go back and look at the stats on some of that stuff here, we can see that the movement speed is about 10%, 1200 fire rate. Haha, 4.2 seconds. That was pretty close. Yeah, recoil is very controllable. Now, the cons. The initial damage is not great, and then the fall off is not great either. It's a very short distance between these two, and then that's about a 5 damage drop off. So you're going to be using a lot of that very quick ammo. Luckily, the recoil is very controllable, so if you do decide to shoot at people at range, you'd probably be able to hit them pretty easily if they're not laggy dead. I like this one. Pretty good thing based off of a Dungeons and Dragons character of theirs and their weapon. I think they said they were an artificer or something along those lines. I haven't played D&D in a very long time. I don't know what the classes are. The last Dungeons and Dragons thing I played was Baldur's Gate 3. So that's about my knowledge of D&D. So anyway, let's get back to the studio. Number 3. It's Nerf or Nothing at number 3 from at HDX-921_B. This build is meant to look like the Nerf Commander pistol. The build is Core, M16, Barrel, Hex Spitter, Mag, Any, Grip, Hex Spitter, Stock, Mega Soaker, Sight, Flashlight. Command your enemies to die, Bubba. All right, at number 3, we have a Nerf gun inspired build. This one is from the Nerf Commander, and I am basing it off of basically if you just go to Google and type in Nerf Commander, that's what I'm basing it off of. It is a like blue, if you know what Nerf guns are, basically they are these like pump action guns that you pull a thing back to cock it, and then it shoots like a foam dart at you, and that's basically it. And it's pretty cool. I'll put a picture on here as well. I tried to make this as close as I could, and even in color to it. I don't think I could do the orange barrel. There we go. That actually makes it look even closer to the originals. But yeah, so you need the orange tip on the front so that way people know it's not a real firearm. I'm using the paintball magazine just really for the aesthetics because it fits in the front of the gun and you can hide it in there. And if you look at the picture of the original gun, it's got this like cyclical barrel thing on the front of it. And well, I can't really do that with any of the magazines. I guess you could do that if you wanted to use the what is it, the Circuit Judge mag, but I didn't really want to do that. So I wanted a lot more shots than, let's say, 5. So that's why I didn't do that. So I'm using the paintball one. I get kind of a similar effect, and I've painted it orange because there's not a lot of orange on it, just certain parts of it are. Pros and the cons. It is a Nerf gun, and it has okay damage in its range, actually. So if you're within range, it has pretty decent damage. Let's take a look at stats here. It has 17 damage in its range, and then at the drop-off, it's only got 14.8, so pretty cool actually. Has a very small movement speed buff at 5%, and the recoil's not that bad actually. It's pretty usable. Now the cons is that it does have a very slight health nerf. You are losing 5 health, so whether that's a big deal or not to use, up to you really, but you know, if you're not wanting to lose any health, then it's probably an issue. And then the reload speed, so it is a little bit slower on the reload, but you know, it does have however many shots that the paintball gun holds, 50. Now personally, I'm not a big fan of the flashlight as a sight. However, I don't think it's the worst sight in the world. I think it's okay actually, but the big issue, I just don't really like the flashlight, the light itself, and I don't think there's a way you can turn it off. So that's the thing. But hey, we're not going for whether we like it or not. We're going for the aesthetic. So this flashlight is essentially taking the place of the cocking handle that would be on the top of the Commander pistol, and you would pull that back to reload the gun and chamber a dart. So that's a thing. Yeah, so downside to this is that if you are trying to recreate this with the paintball mag, then you will need to have the paintball mag. And if you don't have the paintball mag, well, you can't do it to this specific requirement, but you could do it to another one. I'm sure you could find something to fit in there, and that's fine. I like this. I still think that even though it is a Nerf gun and kind of goofy, it's still pretty usable actually. So with that one, let's head back to the studio. Number two from Matt H.C9533 is a gun that you only use if you want to hug your enemies and surround them with the warmth of your love. The build is barrel, light gun, grip, 10 kilogram dumbbell, but I have changed that because I don't have it. Core M870, stock Spaz 12 unfolded, mag rice pot, sight any except for scopes that add range. Show them some love, Bubba. At number 2, the reason Bubba said that you are going to be surrounded by warmth and love is because this thing is so bad. The drop-off is so bad, you literally cannot kill anybody. Here are the stats here. 20 by 8, that then drops down to negative 19 by 8. Negative. So this thing is insane. Now, it did say to use the 10 kilogram dumbbell, and I don't have the 10 kilogram dumbbell, so I can't use that. However, I put on the grip. So words as weapon, grip, because I figured if there's going to be a grip on this thing, it might as well be a grip. Anyway, if we shoot a target here, you'll see, boom, negative 20. This gun, if it could, would heal you if you shot somebody with it. This thing is almost impossible to get a kill with. The pros: it does literally no damage. It will cuddle you in warmth and happiness. It will tickle your enemies until they pee themselves, but it will not kill them. It will then stop and ask them if they're okay. The cons: it literally does no damage. And it also has a huge movement speed nerf at minus 18%. So my goal right now is to actually try and get a kill with this thing because, like I said, you can get a kill with it, you probably won't. So as you can see right here, minus 20, minus 9, minus 10, 11, 6, boom. If you are here at this range, you can get a kill. It will do damage. Not a lot, but it will do damage. So the goal for this gun is to get at least one kill with it, which means that I basically need to be hugging my enemy. Oh my gosh, I can't climb. I need to basically be hugging my enemy in order to get a kill on them. So that's the goal. This bad boy right here that shoots rice, love, and homeliness and delicious meals has to now try and kill people with obesity. Let's see if we can get down there and get a kill. Well, not on that guy, I can't. It's an okay fire rate for a shotgun, but reloads super fast, so we can do that. Oh, we gotta finish this off. There we go. Let me get about 2 inches away from somebody. All I need is to be 2 inches away. I can just put this shotgun in your face, even if it's a bot. There we go, I got a kill. Got a kill on a bot. You know what? I'll take it. This guy's gonna kill me. This guy's not, look, yep. Oh, I got him. Oh, I got him. Holy crap, the gun that heals is also a gun that kills, but you gotta be touching them. This was so funny when I saw it. It hit #1 immediately. It was my #1 for the longest time until I saw this. Back to you in the studio. #1. #1 from at UG Ohio comes slashing down to cut the competition into pieces with a sword. The build is Core Burton, Barrel M870, Sight, Blunderbuss, Stock, Plunger, Mag, Hex Spitter, Grip, Auto 5. Bring out your inner Melania, Bubba. #1 from UG Ohio. This is a sword, and it is meant to be kind of lightsabery, I guess, but this is what they said to build, how they said to kind of build it. There were a bunch of instructions. If you want to make it yourself, you can go and look for the comment. But this was awesome. Now, I did also decide that you could, if you really wanted to, make it diamond. If you have diamond, you can make it diamond or neon red if you unlock neon. I like that, but they suggested that you use Pixel Aqua animated, so that's what we're gonna do. This is awesome. This is super fun. Let's take a look at the stats here. Here are the stats here. Boom. Let's get into this one. Let's talk about the pros and the cons. This is a Burton core. We could use a newer LMG. And it does have a blunderbuss sight, which is on there basically just because you need a sight, and it's the least intrusive one. But honestly, you know, put it wherever you want. I've got it where I've got it because I've got to use it for the video, and I want to actually get some kills with it, so I want to kind of see what I'm shooting at, but it's a thing. Now, all of these colors and these camos that I've put on the gun are recommended. These are the ones that I was told to use, although, you know, you could, I guess you could color it really however you wanted. So we're just kind of going for like a lightsaber build. And honestly, the reason that we're even using the plunger as a stock is because it has the best sort of hilt look to it, or pommel look to it. The reason we are using the Hex Spitter magazine is because these are just side details to make it look cool. And I have resized it in such a way, you could probably resize it, I don't know, however you really wanted to. And then of course the barrel is the 870 because it is pretty much the most straight barrel tube that there is, and it works out really well for this. So yeah, and having an animated camo like this gives it a little bit more character, I guess, because it gives it this sort of cool animated look. Anyway, pros. It's a sword that looks really cool, and I love the idea that someone made a sword, which I think is pretty cool. And I think the camos are what really sell this one. You kind of do need the camos to make this one really sell the sword aesthetic. It does have a fast fire rate. It's pretty darn fast. It's very usable. Okay reload. It's pretty quick for the reload there. Has a movement buff, and it also has really low recoil. Very low recoil, very manageable, easy to use. Now the cons. There is a health nerf. So you lose 7 health. Is that what it is? Yeah, 7 health. And that's the thing. The other con is just overall damage. It has a bit of a low damage output there, but it is, you know, it's a sword. So, I mean, did you expect people to get hurt by a sword from really far away? Not really. But hey, if you're up close, it's actually, you know, not bad. I'm treating it kind of more weirdly like an SMG than anything. So, you know, it is what it is, but it's so easy to control. And yeah, I'm having a good time with this. I think it's a great build. The aesthetic's really cool. I don't have anything that glows. All my neon stuff is locked here. And with that being said, let's head back to the studio to wrap it up. Thank you once again for watching another Weird Gun Game show. Submit your builds down below, and submissions are open for 24 hours. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.